Now let's talk about trade, or rather the weaponization of trade as a form of foreign policy. We are seeing it in real time with the way Donald Trump uses tariffs. He slaps tariffs on Canada. They respond in kind. So then Trump threatens to double the tariffs. He tariffs the EU. They respond. So Trump threatens 200% tariffs on wine and champagne. Clearly, tariffs are no longer being imposed just for economic advantage or protectionism. They are now being used punitively to force another country's hand. But Trump did not start this trend. It has been going on for years with sanctions. The concept of economic sanctions is essentially the same: the weaponization of trade. Earlier today, I spoke about this to Dr. S. Jaishankar, India's External Affairs Minister, at the ongoing Raisina dialogue. Take a look. I want to ask you, historically, India has shied away from weaponizing trade and financial institutions. And you yourself have said that we are not in favor of national sanctions. But with the way the landscape is changing, and you've heard all the other players speak, do you think that trade barriers and tariffs and tech sanctions or tech restrictions have a place in our foreign policy, or should have a place in our foreign policy?
Before I come to that, I just want to say, I can see there are really three capitalists sitting on this side, but I'm impressed to be seen as a commissar. It's a term from my youth, and I was quite amused to see it being used in this age, but I take it as a compliment. Now, your point, tariffs, sanctions, what's happening, export controls. I think whether we would like it or not, they are a reality. Countries use them. In fact, if one looks at the last decade, I would say we have seen a much greater weaponization of pretty much any kind of capability or any kind of economic activity. It could be financial flows, it could be energy supplies, it could be technology. This is the reality of the world. So, since I take the world as it is, we have to negotiate our way through that and see, how best we can do for our own country. Because at the end of the day, for a government, for a commissar of the government, you fight for your business. You fight for your business because you're fighting for your employment. You're fighting for your comprehensive national power, of which business makes a very important contribution. And I think today the lines, dividing different domains have eroded. And I think overall, if you see in international relations, I think it's a less restrained culture today than it was, say, a decade ago. And that's something we all need to factor in.
Does it bother you, the blurring lines?
I'm not, I wouldn't say it would bother me because I've seen its evolution. I mean, I just accept it as part of the playing conditions. So I mean, it's part of the assumptions. It's part of the challenge, and I would deal with it. Ideally, even leverage it where I can.
How do you see the weaponization of things that were intended to be global goods, like Swift or social media or telecom? Do you think that undermines trust in these institutions? And does it push India then to explore alternatives, perhaps homegrown ones?
Well, there are different ways of dealing with weaponization. One is to stay on the right side of the weapon. So, you don't get hit, others do. But the look, here's the reality. The world today makes business decisions, factoring in national security in a manner in which it did not do so before, especially in the digital era. In the digital era, I think it's not just about cost, it is about comfort, it is about trust. So, if you are today looking at this serious at a strategic level, the business conversations, you keep hearing resilience, reliability, trust, transparency. So you want to do business more and more with those with whom you are secure. And your earlier point that everybody has, every partner offers some risks. Yes, but you would rather take the risks with those where your interests are not contradictory, then the risks are not that great, rather than those with whom your interests could clash or do clash. So I would argue today that countries, in a way, need a kind of a macro business strategy. And certainly, when you look at India, when we look at the world today, we see, we are involved right now in three big trade negotiations with the EU, with the UK, and now with the United States. These are our growth markets. These are our technology partners. This is where people go for education. This is where people go for tourism. These are, in many ways, our connectivity partners. They are our strategic partners. So when we make choices, it's no longer just efficiency and cost. I think there are non economic factors which I think increasingly influence business decisions. Sometimes you can be put in a situation where we say, let me devise something alternative because that is a compulsion of the day. But I would argue that's an aberration rather than than some kind of strategic desire to replace a particular system. I mean, if we can make the current system work for us, it's the smarter thing to do.
Right. Before I open it to the audience, I want to ask you one last question, and this is something that we've discussed internally as well. You see, foreign policy was designed to deal with countries, but today companies are sometimes more powerful than countries. For instance, you have Elon Musk and Starlink. With one flip of the switch, they can change the course of the war in Ukraine. Do you think foreign policy then needs to evolve, or do you leave it to regulators and financial institutions?
No, one, historically, that's not entirely the case. I would remind you of a company called East India Company, which became so big. Uh, but it's a valid point. I mean, the market cap of many companies today would probably entitle some of them, I don't know, maybe even to be part of the G20. So this is, again, a reality we have to deal with. So sometimes, you deal with them in tandem with the government. Sometimes you deal with them directly, but you have to deal with them. I mean, this is the necessity in my business.
Do you think that Ukraine is at its weakest position?
This war is not about Ukraine.
Do you believe that your president was insulted? Yes or no question. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
Diplomacy will work?
Yes.
Do you think Russia will give up the territory if there is no ceasefire? Do you propose to keep fighting?
We are ready to resist.
Do you think there will be peace?
Many countries gave us 3 days.
President Trump said you don't have any cards.
We do not have another choice.
How do you keep fighting?
You ask me once again the same question.
Because you've not answered my question.
We have enough capacities to keep fighting.